Hey guys, it's Sunday afternoon. I'm out here once again on my son's soccer practice, so out here just waiting for him to do that. I've got about half hour, so I thought I'd chat with you guys. Hope everybody's doing okay. I'll be here for some questions if you guys have some. I've got me and my trusty sidekick Maximus is up here chilling out in the front seat. He's been having a good day so far. So he no longer identifies as a chicken. So that's a good sign for him. That's obviously a reference to one of my goofy videos I did the other day. Some of you guys seem to like those. If you don't, it's one of those things you can't please everyone. So, I think that's the lesson that you learn is if you try to please everybody, you end up pleasing nobody, particularly yourself. So, you just do the best you can. What was I going to, a couple videos, I got another one uploading now that I'll let you guys watch it before I discuss it. But, anyway, so, some questions here. We got Shawn saying you, and Jerry Cash asking, does Maximus have fleas? He does not have fleas, or at least I haven't seen any. He did have a few when we were living in California. He had some occasionally, but he does not seem to have any now, and hasn't seen any. So he's pretty chilled out, pretty happy. We're up in Washington State here. I'm in a little town called Shoreline right now, where my son's having a soccer practice. Joni says, howdy, and Josh Van Pelt, what do you eat for higher ketones? Basically just a little bit more fat and a little less protein, and then a little less overall food. That does well for me. Carol P loves all your content. Well, thanks, Carol. Hopefully, like I said, some people are a little I don't know, maybe surprised that I throw some humor in there occasionally. I think it's fun. I think it's fun to do that stuff, and hopefully you guys don't mind it too much. Hopefully it doesn't detract from the overall message of getting people healthy and, that type of stuff. But, I think it's good to have fun every once. It's good to laugh at yourself and laugh at some things. I think, laughter is good medicine. I mean, I think in general, people watch those goofy videos. Most people, there's some people who get kind of a little offended and uppity about it, but I don't really care. I think most people have a good laugh, and it's good for them. Wild Rose, do I still think organs and glands are not needed and just plain meat is enough? I do. Well, at least for most people. I'd say for most people, that's certainly, I mean, my case for sure. I don't eat that. I have not had any organs or glands or organ supplements, in the 8 years I've been doing it. Now, I will say that, every once in a while, someone has cooked like an organ thing for me and wants me to try it, and so I'll eat it. Like when I was in the UK back in May, David Unwin bought up some lamb's liver, and I was like, man, David, I'm not really interested in that. He goes, yeah, just have it. I'll have it. So I ate it. And it wasn't disgusting. It was okay. But I never would seek that stuff out on my own. I just don't particularly enjoy it. And so yeah, I think it's unnecessary. I think it's not just based on my experience. It's based on the experience of thousands of people over the long term. I know some people that, there's some people who get excited and do short-term carnivore. They hear some other people telling you how essential organs are and blah, nose to tail and blah, 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 and our ancestors. But the reality is the actual, at the end of the day, results of people that have actually done this diet for prolonged periods of time. I'm not talking like, get on social media, talk about it for, 6 months of a year and then whatever, and then switch to something else. I'm talking about people that have done this for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Most of them will tell you, hey, organs are totally, totally unnecessary. And that reflects the work of like Stefanson when he was up there. I mean, I've posted the video of him being interviewed in the 1960s, early 60s, late 50s, talk about what he experienced up in what he said, yeah, they just basically threw away the organs, didn't eat them. I mean, every once in a while they'd eat some kidneys, but they generally chunked them out. It matches the work from the Harvard University study where they said, organ meats had no impact on the bearing of nutritional adequacy or signs of nutrient deficiency. It bears the data that I collected on 12,000 people. Like, I don't really have any skin on the game. I don't care if people eat organs or not. If you like them, eat them. If you enjoy them, eat them. If you get a benefit out of them, eat them. But I will always push back on the people who say it's necessary and you must do it to be even optimal. I mean, I think that's just nonsense. All right, we got Armin Notek. Hi, I have a problem with calories and carnivore. Does calories matter? Yes, they do. All right, quick, easy answer. They do. I mean, there's more nuance to that, but yes, calories do matter. How much food you eat does matter. If I want to gain weight, what do? I eat more food. If I want to lose weight, I eat less food. Less calories, less food, less mass. However you want to stack it up. The difference between eating 5 ribeyes a day and 2 ribeyes a day are, 5 ribeyes a day, I weigh more and have a little more body fat. 2 ribeyes a day, I weigh less and have a little less body fat. So, I mean, it does matter, particularly as you do carnivore over time. Now, initially shifting from one diet to the other, you have different hormonal variations. You have, different things with protein and so on and so forth. So, I mean, yeah, you compare one dietary structure to another dietary structure. And yeah, you might be able to eat more calories on this diet than you can on this diet and have, maybe even lose weight potentially. I mean, it's definitely possible. But once you've been doing the same diet for a year or whatever, you're going to have to, calories are going to become into an impact. Sharon Cockrell from Southern California says, hi, DC learning to live. Hey, Doc, how's it? Neck is better for sure. It's not 100%, but it's definitely significantly better than it was. So I'm going in the right direction for sure. Getting sleep. So that's a nice thing. I mean, I'll sleep better because of, not having the pain. That makes a big difference. Rizial, did you hear the Chafee debate with Dr. Nagra? And if so, did you have any thoughts? I did not see that debate. I'm not even sure where it is, but I don't know how long it is. I tend to, I don't know, because I don't know. I haven't watched it. Maybe I'll watch it. Maybe if I'm bored, I'll watch it. Joseph Van Pelt, the humor is good. There you go. And Carnivore Caveman says, love your funny stuff. Thank you. Uliel, hello from Israel. Do you have plans to make Revero international? I'd like to make it international. Yes, I think yes. That'll be. We got to get established in the U.S. first, and it's going to be. It's honestly, it's probably not going to be for a couple of years before we have an opportunity to go internationally. But yes, I'd love to make it internationally. Dave Reinke, is olive oil okay with carnivore? Shawn, so olive oil would not be considered a carnivore diet. I mean, could you do okay with putting a little olive oil on your steak or something like that? Yeah, you certainly might. I mean, it's, again, this is one of those things. If we were talking about a strict definition of a carnivore diet, it does not include olive oil. Are there people that eat a pretty much carnivore diet with olive oil and do fine? Yeah, there absolutely are. So, I mean, it's one of those things where it depends on, what are you trying to do? What's going on there? I mean, in my view, I'm like, I got better fats. I got better animal fats. It tastes better. They perform better. Olive oil is not particularly good for high heat cooking. And I pretty much everything I eat high heat cooking. I mean, I don't really use a lot of oils to cook. I do almost everything on the grill, so it's very rarely an issue for me. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. No, it's not carnivore, but is it the worst thing in the world? Probably not. Britzel says hello, or Bridazzle. I'm not sure how you say it. Maybe it's Bridazzle. Stacy Digby says sugar cravings help. Yeah, well, I mean, again, so sugar cravings. It's a pretty common thing. Don't know your background. Don't know how much insulin resistance you have. Don't know how much of a sugar person you were in the past. I mean, what I would say is, what are the things we know that can help mitigate cravings? There's first of all, I say getting eating enough food. Making sure you get enough. I like to tell people, how much meat should I eat? Eat enough meat so you don't want cupcakes or whatever. I mean, that's step one for most people. Eating enough so you don't want them. If you still have cravings, and you can't just eat some more meat, which might be an option. Distract. Usually cravings are time limited. Usually, like, they come and they go. They come for 30 minutes and they go. Usually it's tied to hormonal fluctuations, particularly things like ghrelin. And so what I tell people is, what can you do for 30, 45 minutes to beat that craving? Go for a walk, do some exercise, have a plan in place. Like, say, hey, when I have a sugar craving, this is what I'm going to do. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to do this. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to do this. So have a plan in place. So you plan, failure to plan is planning to fail, right? You've all heard that little saying, right? And so, sometimes stretch, sometimes just a mechanical stretch of the gastrointestinal tract, through like a lot of fluid. Sometimes that'll do it. And there's various ways you can do that. So that, obviously getting rid of the sugar in your house, if you got it in your house, I mean, you got cravings, good luck if they're going to be there. You're going to, you want to make it hard on yourself. I mean, make it inconvenient for you to get sugar. Like I said, I got to try the grocery store. It's going to take 20 minutes, blah, blah, blah. I mean, don't like Uber Eats or all that crap. Stop doing that stuff, if that's something you do. And just have in your house things that are actually going to benefit you. And, like I said, I don't know how long you are on your journey, if you're even doing carnivore, but I will tell you, really that's job one is addicting, is conquering addiction, putting those behaviors in the out of your life. And sometimes it takes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, even a year for some people to really, really just beat that demon back. Once you do it, then you have, you're in a better place. It's like, okay, maybe once in a while I'll have a piece of cake and I'll be fine. I'm not going to go turn into this raging, carb monster or whatever it is. All right. Laprish was cool to see Rogan reach out to you asking how you were. It seems like he's a good friend. Yeah, I mean, Joe has over the years has periodically, that guy's got to be so busy. You can imagine. I mean, I'm busy and I'm just some, fraction of the sort of popularity that Joe Rogan has. And, I did him say, hey, dude, hey, brother, heard about your neck. Let me help you out with that. And also, hey, let's go do a podcast. I thought that was really cool. So I'm really pleased about that. So that's basically being arranged. So it'll happen next month, towards the end of next month. So it'll be exciting to see that. SR Cooper, greetings from the Great White North, Canada. Well, as you probably know, I'm 2 hours from the Canadian border. So I was up there in last March was the last time I was in Canada. I went up to, had to go up to Vancouver for a little business meeting. Mr. Foodorama says, humor is great. Loved it. Thanks, guys. JG says, hi, carnivores. Derek Childress, how's your neck feeling? Yeah, I said it's doing better. Michael Davis, humor is good, but these days too many folks can't distinguish between humorous, satire, and real. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Reality has become satire, isn't it? It's kind of like, what? That's real? Sometimes you got to put an exclaimer, not satire, because it sounds so ridiculous. And, the sad thing is so many people get offended by just the littlest stuff, on every side of it. It's kind of funny because, you kind of make fun of these, they call them snowflakes, right? Oh, you're offended by every little thing. Somebody called you by the wrong name, or somebody, gave you a microaggression or whatever, you get offended. And yet, I put on this stupid frangie blue wig, and there were people offended by that. There are people like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, I can't believe you're, I don't want to see you anymore. This is sort of whining, basically. I call it whining. I'm just like, it's literally humor. It's goofing around. It's not some friggin', what were the people saying? Illuminati embarrassment ritual or, whatever. I'm just like, I just laugh at that stuff. All right, Jake, any advice on getting off of PPI when I don't have a lower esophageal sphincter? I had an esophagectomy last year due to cancer, and part of the esophagus and stomach were removed on pantoprazole currently. Wow, that's a tough situation. I'm trying to think of the way to I think that what I would do, because PPI is obviously proton pump inhibitors, pantoprazoles, omeprazoles, you guys know those things. They reduce your stomach acid, which, will help if you're having reflux, at least symptomatically. So, it wasn't a total esophagectomy, I'm guessing, because sometimes they'll do a pull-up, a gastric pull-up procedure or something like that. But I think that, if you don't have acid, you can't digest your food properly. So I think it's important. I kind of think it's important to keep the acid. The problem is, how do you keep it in place? Because the LES, the lower esophageal sphincter, is there to prevent food from refluxing up into your esophagus, and then, of course, effectively burning the esophagus. So again, I don't know what you have. I mean, if they pull up some of your stomach, which presumably still have some of the mucus layer that would protect that. That's what the stomach does. It secretes mucus to protect from the high acid environment. It's a specialization that happens. I think that probably the best thing I could do, I would say, is just eat very small meals. Just eat small, 4 ounce, whatever, 6 times a day, something like that. And just do it that way, because You know, bigger meals are one of the things that is going to increase the likelihood of, you know, acid being pushed back upwards. Remember, it's a pressure phenomenon. You know, that's what blows the lower esophageal sphincter valve. It's too much pressure, and so having that capacity, you know, and that's fibrous food, sugary foods, all that creates a lot of gas. That gas is going to lead to pressure, and pressure is going to drive that acid both out the back end and up the top, right? So, so avoiding food that's bloating or gas producing, and that's usually, like I said, fibers, sugars, higher fats. For some people can do that, so you got to be mindful of how much fat you're using, particularly rendered fat, and then also the other thing, the volume phenomenon, is probably smaller meals. That's probably the best advice I can give you on that. All right. Andy C says, I'm having lamb hearts and oxtail tomorrow. All right. Nice. Leslie Gorman says, hi from England. All right. Do you take Eurowars? Do you take any supplements on carnivore? I'm assuming you're asking me personally. Excuse me. I don't take supplements outside of effectively some electrolytes, which I do. I drink an electrolyte drink, you know, just because I tend to sweat a lot. I mean, because I'm always working out, and if I've been doing jiu-jitsu lately, but I'm still in the gym training and sweating, so I do for that purpose. But I don't take vitamins or minerals, supplements, or any other sort of you know, supplements. I'm basically just pretty much meat, and you know, I guess if you want to call electrolytes a supplement, then that would be that too. All right, what do you think of seed oils? Well, I don't consume them, or I don't knowingly consume them anyway. I mean, pretty much I cook probably 98% of my food I eat at home, and so that's something I don't do. Do I think? One, I think they're unnecessary. You don't need them. There's no reason to eat them. You know, they certainly weren't part of the human diet up until about 120 years ago or so, somewhere in that neighborhood. You know, realistically, do I think they are inherently bad? Probably. I can't say that with 100% certainly, but I think there's some problems with it. I think, maybe it's maybe when they're oxidized and things of that nature, and they tend toward oxidation. But I'm not, I also think there may be some confounding there. And why do I say that? I think because I believe the majority of seed oil consumption in the United States and probably other Western diets is in the context of ultra-processed food. That's where most of us are getting all these seed oils through, pretzels and cookies and sauces and, whatever, on and on. You go look in the grocery store, and then like even some of the processed meats, it's almost always in the context of some sort of processed food, which I think is inherently problematic anyway. So I think it's probably at least some of that. And is it the because some people say, well, sugar's not a problem, it's all seed oils. I've heard that argument, right? And I mean, I literally interviewed a guy, 600 pounds at age 14 years of age. And, the reason he was 600 pounds is because he was eating freaking 20 Cokes a day. I mean, it wasn't seed oil. There's no seed oil in Coca-Cola, right? So, I mean, I think that, is there a downside to avoiding them? Probably not. Not really. I mean, there's cooking oils. There's a hell of a lot better things to cook in. I mean, they're much more flavorful. They have better cooking profiles than most of the seed oils. I mean, so I mean, I probably lean towards they're probably bad. I can't say that with the certainty that some other people do, but I'd say why do you need to bother to consume them when there's so many better options for you? Whether it's butter, ghee, duck fat, beef fat, tallow, lard, on and on and on. So anyway, all right. Tracy Kinsell back again today. She's kind of becoming a regular here. Hi, Carnivore friends. Good to see you. Janet Ianello, I think that's how you say it. Ianello, I guess. Hi, Doc. Is a coronary CT angiogram safe or dangerous to the body? I heard it's a lot of radiation. Well, I mean, there's definitely some radiation on that study, and also on a study it's called a coronary artery calcium scan. There is a contrast dye that they'll put in there. That's where hence the angiogram comes from. And so there's a potential for maybe harm to the kidneys in some degree. So it is not without risk. It is not without potential downside. I would say that you know, and that's one of the reasons I've not had one, is because, I mean, it's risk versus benefit. You know, why are you considering a CT angiography, and what is the indication for that? And so, if you're just like, hey, let me just go see what's going on, let me just get one for the hell of it, right? I mean, maybe there's some other lesson, but, you know, maybe just a coronary artery calcium scan, which is not as precise, doesn't show soft plaque, but also expose you to radiation, but it doesn't expose you to the contrast dye. And I'm not sure which one has more radiation, to be honest. I mean, you know, I'd have to talk to a a CT angiographer or a CT tech, and a CT guy would know it. A radiologist would probably know the answer to that. So I think, you know, the risks are pretty low, to be honest. I mean, it's not like, oh, it's you know, people are dying, dropping dead from radiation, because it's not that much. And, you know, if you did it once a decade or something like that, it's probably, I mean, we talk about how much radiation, you know, going on a transatlantic flight. I've been, the number of airplane flights I've been on, I've probably 10 times the amount of radiation that I've had during a CT scan. So yeah, it's more than an X-ray, of course, but it's, you know, if you're doing these like once every 6 months, then yeah, I'd be a little more concerned about it. Christopher, what's good? Do you have any more of those fall vegan pumpkin smoothies? Paul Smoothie, small salad would just add his organ supplements and it's all animal based. That's right. Yeah, it could be. Just make it, throw a couple of those in there. Now you're suddenly animal based, right? Yeah, that was a little funny one, wasn't it? Anyway, all right. I find the most opinionated people about carnivore are the ones that have never tried it. Yeah, for sure. Carnivore Ron, thanks, Dr. Becker, for all you do. You're welcome, Carnivore Ron. I recently laughed at cooking with Frangie pumpkin spice fall detox smoothie. I shared it with friends and watched it a few times. It still makes me laugh. Yeah, I thought we did a pretty good job on that. People are asking me, like, somebody's asked me, do you have a writer for that? And that's all my own. That's all my own twisted brain that came up with that stuff. So all the stuff I've been doing is just my thoughts on that. So, Wild Rose is also big cast of lions, tigers in captivity were never able to get pregnant until they added organs and glands, and found out back in the zoo in the late 60s. Not sure. I haven't looked into that, but. Tracy Kinsey, you should have a meetup when you're in Texas next month. Yeah, I'm going to be there. I don't know how much time I'm going to have, but maybe I'll do something at Hop Dotty. You guys saw the Hop Dotty thing. My buddy's one of the executives at Hop Dotty, so I'm gonna meet up with him, and maybe we'll go do something at Hop Dotty. Maybe that might be fun to do. All right, $5 thing. Okay, Shop BC. My focus is blood pressure. It's in the danger zone post COVID-19 and on CCB to bring it under starting APR. April, maybe? Bring it under starting APR. Generally speaking, how long to lower blood pressure on carnivore diet? Okay, so I'll just add, you know, I guess the preliminary stuff is kind of irrelevant to this particular discussion. But yeah, so most people, when they see changes in general, it's usually by about 3 months. So I would say I would expect to see some response by 3 months. So that's where I would look at that. I would be mindful, even though we talk about increasing salt or electrolytes on carnivore due to often the dehydrating effect of low carb diets and higher protein diets. Some people will find that adding excessive salt can drive blood pressure. You have to be mindful of that. So it's not that you shouldn't add the salt, you know, to make sure you don't have headaches and all those other things, but you should just be mindful to see if it is impacting your blood pressure, then you maybe dial it back a touch. Yeah, so I mean, about 3 months is what I would say. Now, there are people that will get a response much quicker than that. I think that, there's also some people that will initially see a bump. Some people initially see their blood pressure go up when they start carnivore. And why might that be? Well, I think it probably has to do with maybe a stress response. You know, anytime we change our diets, it's a bit stressful to the body. You know, it's a new sort of stressor, and that stressor, just like you go to the doctor and you get stressed out by the white coat, it's the same sort of thing. It's a thing that stresses things. So those are things I would be kind of concerned about. All right, JG says, I like beef liver. Well, Eat it then. Christopher says, what belt are you in jiu-jitsu? I am still a white belt. I've been going over 2 years, but I have not been able to go consistently enough to, and I got to tell you, I'm really happy that Greg has not promoted me, because, there's some guys who just say, hey, you've been here for 2 years and they'll give you a blue belt, or a year, they'll give you a blue belt. And, I don't think he'll give me a promotion until he feels that I am physically, and technically ready for it. I mean, I can beat up a lot of, not beat up. I mean, I can consistently, win battles against white belts and blue belts and even a lot of purple belts. It's just, I don't, I can use strength, and I can use those types of things, those physical advantages to my advantage, because I'm usually bigger and stronger people. Even though I'm a lot older, I'm like the oldest guy, and I'm always almost the oldest guy. I think rarely have I ever been there where I wasn't the oldest guy. And usually I'm like 25, 30 years older than everybody. But despite that, I'm pretty physically still pretty capable. And so, but I mean, until I can demonstrate the requisite skill set, then I don't think I deserve it. And, my thought in my mind is, whenever I wrestle against Greg, our black belt, Greg's freaking tough, always freaking arm bars me. I mean, it's like, I'm just like, if I can survive one round with him, going full, going hard, not just, but actually trying, and not get submitted, then I think I'm probably getting close to what I need to do to be a blue belt. The closest I got was within, we go these 6-minute rounds, and I rolled and I held him off, got out of some arm bar submissions. But like 3 seconds to go, he got me. So I was like, yes, damn it, So anyway, that's the deal on that sort of stuff. And it's going to take a while, because I got to, first of all, I've got to, make sure this is healed up, this injury, make sure I'm asymptomatic, and then strengthen the neck so that it's not happening again. I got to go in there and do some aggressive strengthening programs, and so, rehab and flexibility and all the neck stuff that I need to do. So it'll be a while before I can get back there and start rolling at any kind of intensity. Probably, I'm thinking probably not till probably the spring would be my guess. All right, conservative movement, Butterholics Anonymous. That's right. Those damn Butterholics. Can you explain in simple terms why vegetables are bad for you? Dave A99. Sure. So first of all, I would say they are not necessarily bad for everyone. I mean, I know some people say vegetables are trying to kill you and they're bad. Yes, vegetables have toxic compounds in them. Everything does, basically. Yes, I mean, the dose makes the poison. What I will say is that I think that for many reasons, one is probably just the overall poor quality of our diet. Our just garbage Western diet has so compromised probably our gut integrity, to the point that even things that would otherwise have been relatively easy to deal with or innocuous are now overwhelming our system. And so the small, low-level amounts of toxicity in certain fruits and vegetables has now, for some people, some susceptible people, maybe they're genetically susceptible, maybe they are gut damage now susceptible. And for those people, yeah, sometimes you got to pull the vegetables out. And I know it sounds crazy, and it's against all the nutritional sort of dogma that's out there. It's kind of heretical to say that, but I think for some people, legitimately, removing vegetables from the diet is a good move. And I just, because, and why do I say that? It's not speculative. It's because it happens, because it does work for so many people. So it's worth trying. And like I said, 3 months in my view is a good trial. All right. What else we got here? Sorry if I missed it, but what have you been doing for cervical herniation? Yeah, I mean, I've been, a little bit of traction, physical therapy. I did a little acupuncture. I'm playing with some nutritional ketosis. Those are the main things. It's the natural history of a herniated cervical disc, which produces radiculopathy, which is what I have down my right arm, is by about 12 weeks, about 80% of those will resolve, or mostly resolve. And I am nine and a half weeks now, and I would say I'm 50% resolved at this point. All right, we got another $5 question here from Mary Endersby, thank you for everything you do. Well, it's not a question, but thanks, Mary. Thanks for the $5 for that. I appreciate it. Thanks. Maybe I'll buy Maximus a little extra dog treat or something like that, huh? But he'll be excited about that. Maxie's been working on, you guys see Maxie's been working hard as an actor too. He's been getting his chops and everything. He had to play a chicken dog. That was one of his one of his debut roles as a dog actor. All right, what else we got here? Michael Wachtel, I think. Hello from Canada. Is too much protein bad on carnivore, and perhaps what should be higher, fat, protein, or fat? What should be higher, fat or protein for fat loss on carnivore? Well, anytime you say too much protein, then you're automatically, okay, yeah, too much protein is bad, too much water is bad, too much oxygen is bad. The question is defining what's too much, right? And so when it comes to protein, I mean, we don't really have any good studies to show there's an upper limit to how much protein you can consume. There's some theoretical thoughts on 35% being the upper limits of tolerability for humans over a long time as part of the dietary, caloric amount, which, and 35% is quite a bit. I mean, that's probably what I consume. And yet I'm consuming 300, 400 grams of protein a day. There's studies out there from guys like Jose Antonio showed people consuming 500, 600 grams of protein a day without any evidence of any deleterious effects on, kidney function, liver function, metabolic function. So I don't know if there's a real, at least for healthy people. Now, if you're diabetic, yes, I think protein will sometimes lead to higher glucose levels, probably through the stimulation of glucagon, and not necessarily gluconeogenesis. I think that's really what we're seeing it from, particularly the postprandial numbers. I think that, what's better for fat loss? Well, I think it's whatever gives you the greatest sense of satiety, quite honestly. I mean, I've seen people that go really high fat and the weight comes off. And it depends on where you are in your journey. I think early on, a lot of people, they're trading, they're energy addicts. I'll say it that way. I mean, they're over-consuming fat and carbs, or just carbs and sugar and garbagey food. And then just by going high fat and cutting down the sugar, or cutting out the sugar, a lot of people just naturally consume less food because they're getting enough satiety. That what I find is, at the end stages, like say we're like, yeah, we've lost, we need to lose 70 pounds. We've lost like 62 of them. We got those last 8 pounds to go. I find in that situation, then, it gets into this thing where you probably have to even reduce fat at that point, up protein. So, and part of it's a preference. Part of it's like, do you like working out? Do you like putting on muscle? I do. So I tend to be kind of a more higher protein guy, but I still eat high fat. I mean, I'm still eating, 60%, maybe 70% of my calories coming from fat, even though I'm higher protein. Now, again, the current situation with the neck, with the neuroinflammatory issue, I'm even higher fat because I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm just trying to treat a, kind of an inflammatory issue. Okay. Hopefully that's helpful. Turamir from Finland. Hello back. I don't know how to say hi in Finnish. I guess I should learn that at some point, but vegetables don't have bioavailable nutrients and actually anti-nutrients. Well, I mean, part of that's true. I mean, yes, they have anti-nutrients, undoubtedly. Yes, the bioavailability of many compounds in fruits and vegetables are less bioavailable. It's not that there's no bioavailability, but they're less bioavailable in many cases, depending on the particular nutrient. Reziel, I do love calf liver, but I mostly eat it sparingly and because I still enjoy it. Nutritional boost is probably a nice bonus, but not essential. Okay, fair enough. Jennifer, Texas Carnivore, Dr. Baker, pretty day in Texas, cooler, which is nice. Yeah, I'm not sure I can't remember what part of Texas you're in. I'm not sure if you've ever said, but I know some of the folks out in West Texas were saying, yeah, it was a hot summer for them, 100 plus degrees for several weeks, I think. And so they're happy to see that. Yeah, I was in Texas in August and it was pretty damn hot. But yeah, it's nice to get a little cooler weather. It's pretty, it's probably 60, 58 here right now today, but nice. It's pretty nice up here. It's kind of nice fall weather. Celia, hello, doctor. Do you agree with me if I say that fermented cabbage is a superfood? Thank you. Not really. No, I don't think it's all that special. I mean, you can make the argument that fermented foods are maybe less problematic for our gut to handle than like raw cabbage, right? So, but I don't know that it's a superfood. Lisa Creason says, I do OMAD. How can I hold on to longer, up to 72 hours? Any tips to keep myself focused? I'm not sure why you want to do that, but 72-hour fast, I guess. I'm not sure why you want to do that, first of all. But I mean, like I said, what I would say is when you're fasting and you're doing extended fasting, gosh, I think it's so important to do resistance training while you're doing that, so you can hang on to that muscle. And I mean, I guess keep occupied. Keep occupied and stay active, keep your brain active. And that. But I'm the longest fast I ever did was 48 hours, and I didn't like it. And the only reason I did it because I'd interviewed the snake guy, this Cole Robinson guy, and he was talking about doing before. I said, well, I'll try one. I'll try one just for the hell of it. And I ate like a snake that swallowed a goat. I mean, before, because I was like, well, I need it. He was like, well, just eat what you normally eat for 2 days in one day, in one meal, even if you can, and then fast. And so I did. So I literally ate 8 pounds in one setting, which would have been my 2-day intake. And I was so miserable. I mean, I remember I got done with that meal. Man, I couldn't move, couldn't walk. I had to go lay down on the couch and just like, just lay there for like 4 hours before I could move again. So I didn't enjoy that aspect. And I didn't really enjoy fasting that long. So, I mean, anyway, but I mean, stay active, strength train, and stay distracted, I guess. All right, we got about 3-4 minutes for my son's soccer is done, so I'll answer the last few questions here. All right, Jay, if you're going to respond to Lee L pronunciation from Israel without asking how he and his family are holding up, giving your well wishes, sympathy, and encouragement. Yes, sure, of course. Yeah, Israel. Yeah, that's a tough place in the world. And one of the reasons I'm not going to Egypt this year is because of the awful things that's going on in there. And I feel tremendous sorrow for anybody going through that. As someone who's been to war and seen the direct horror, I won't go into that right now, but I've discussed that in other videos. It's absolutely horrific and awful. And gosh, I hope they come to some sort of resolution in the near future. All right. Tour my cravings are my curse. Should one be 1 year straight completely without cheat meals or lighter days, or should one have cheat meals once a month? I don't like the idea of making an expectation of a cheat meal. I mean, I think that just it kind of gives you the wrong mindset. I think if it happens, it happens, but don't plan for it. Don't plan it in there. I know there's people talking about, well, you're going to be less likely to binge if you have regular cookie breaks, and I'm not sure that's the mentality that I would focus on. I would focus on just doing as best you can, and if something happens, you just deal with it and get back. Just knowing that you can get back to, because it's not the cheat meal so much; it's the lack of discipline that occurs afterwards, I think, and I think that's really the problem. It's not that one cookie is going to kill anybody; it's what it does to people's behaviors. I mean, yeah, it can start a blood sugar roller coaster for people, particularly if they have a decent amount of garbagey food, and it may take them days, even a week or more, to recover from. But I think it's what it does to your mindset afterwards, and if you have the discipline to to deal with that, when it occurs, and you just deal with it. Andy Schnick, hey, Dr. Baker, I have lowered my blood pressure on Redmond's Real Salt, but Element and some other store brand pork rinds were the only ingredients for pork rinds and salt caused my blood pressure to rise. Okay, well, then obviously you may want to avoid those. Could be the type of salt and element in pork rinds cause high blood pressure. Yeah, I mean, I suppose it could be. Mark White said sugar and coffee cream are my weakness. I am not a coffee person, so Hopefully it gets you. Huge champ. Are you the same Dr. Shawn Baker that warned against the clot shot? Well, I mean, what I said was, I think you should have informed consent, and you should, carefully consider the risks and benefits, and don't just blindly sign up for stuff, Anyway, I'll leave it at that. Dave Reineke. Hey, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Beck, for your help in answering my question. Sure. Thanks, man. Andy Schnick said I didn't get the clot shot. Okay, well, I'm assuming you're referring to the COVID vaccine. I didn't either. I did not see a need to do it for my particular situation. So I did not do that. Amy Thompson, hi, watching from Aberdeenshire in Scotland. Oh, nice. I bet it's pretty up there. Derek Childress says you are going to be on the Rogan show. Great. Yeah, like I said, that's going to be in November, next month, towards the end. Kudos, Andy. Conservative movement says bring back Frangie. Yeah, I don't know. I'm considering retiring Frangie. I don't know. It's one of those things where a lot of people. It's funny. Some people really got offended by Frangie, didn't they? Andy Stick, I believe the saturated fat and cholesterol will be a scapegoat for the clot shots. Who knows? KJ Gooding, looking forward to attending your seminar in Ocala in November. Hopefully get to meet you there as well. Bring your book. Will you sign it? Yeah, if you got a copy of my book, I'll be happy to sign it there. Yeah, I usually don't just bring books because I don't want to travel all that garbage. I mean, not garbage, but stuff, I'm usually like to be fairly low maintenance. Yeah, man, I'm very approachable. I mean, I'm happy to talk to people. I mean, if I usually mix out with the crowds. If you just come up and say hi, shake, so I'd love to meet you and talk to you and stuff like that. Dave Reinke, I'm watching from South Africa. This is great stuff. What's the score of the Rugby World Cup game? I'm wondering. I know they just kicked off against France a little bit ago, so maybe you can give us an update on the score. Graphene oxide, a good supplement. All right, guys, I got to go. My boy is just showing up, so I got to shut this one down. Thanks, guys. Have a great one. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye now.